So in this video we will learn about dependency injection, and we will work on the Get.put, Get.lazyPut, Get.create, and also Get.put async. So we will start working right in the get material app. In here there will be title, and title we will write dependency injection. After this home there will be scaffold widget, and in the scaffold widget there will be app bar, there will be title, write in it, and there will be text, and in text we will copy that and paste it here. Now in body there will be a center widget, and in center there will be child, and in child there will be column widget. Now we will set the properties. Main axis alignment, set it to center. After this, cross axis alignment, set it to center. Now there will be children, and in children there will be elevated button. Now in here in child we will have a text, and in text we will say click here. So now let's work on the Get.put and how it will work. So for that we are going to create an instance for a control class, but we didn't create the control class yet. So first we are going to create a new file right in the lib, and we will name this as a controller dot, and here there will be a class named controller extends GetX. We will work right here later, but now we will go to the main dot. So now we will create the instance for a controller class right in here. So write controller. Basically we are using that controller right in here to create its instance. There we go. Now there will be a type for it, controller, and you will equal that to Get.put, and you will take the controller, after this put a comma, and I will take the attribute take, and you can name this anything as you want. I will name this as a coding cafe 1. There we go. And now we will set the attribute permanent, and we will set this to true. By default it's false, but we will set it to true, and put a semicolon at the end like this. Now we will import the library for the controller, that library control.dart. There we go. So now what this tag will do, basically it will find our controller with the help of that tag name. It will find that controller. So that's the working of tag attribute right in here. And so the permanent will help the controller to work throughout the app, and if we didn't set this permanent to true, then that the controller will be automatically removed by the GetX. So basically that's the working of permanent. So set this to true and it will work throughout the app. And one more thing, we are not using that control instance anywhere in the code in here. So now we will see, run the application. It will take some time, just wait. As you guys can see here, the control has been created with the take coding cafe 1, and there is a get material control has been created, and also get material controller has been initialized, as you guys can see here, but we didn't create the instance of a controller anywhere in our code, and these things happen because of this. Let me close this first. Because of this line of code, it basically made the controller initialized without using anywhere in the code. So basically that's the working of a Get.put. And one more thing about the controller, we can also find it with the Get.find by using its tag, that tag. Right in here we can also do this. Right in here, Get.find, and in here there will be a controller, and in here there will be a tag just for finding. We will see in here coding cafe 1. There we go. Close it with semicolon. So now first let me clear this, and now we will run the application and see. As you guys can see in here, it's also working fine with the Get.find, and we using the tag name of a controller, and has been created with the tag coding cafe 1, as you guys can see, and it's initialized the get material controller. So now we will close this, and now we will see, simply comment that, and after this we will comment that control instance right in here. There we go. So for Get.lazyPut, right in here, Get.lazyPut, there we go, and here there will be a controller class that we created before. There we go, semicolon. So by writing this line of code, it will not initialize the controller or allocated the memory for it, and the memory will only be allocated whenever we are trying to access the my controller instance, and at that time it will only initialize the memory. So now we will scroll down and we will work right here. We will write in here Get.find. We'll simply find our controller. Right in here, controller, and in here just close it with semicolon. Now we will run the application. As you guys can see here, it's only created and initialized the get material controller, but it didn't create and initialize the controller. So we basically create the instance for it, as you guys can see here, Get.lazyPut, the controller, and we simply find our controller, as you guys can see here in the elevated button, So if I press in there, then it will only create the controller and it will be initialized. So let's click on it. There we go. As you guys can see, the control has been created and it has been initialized. And so whenever you guys want to access the controller, then it will only be initialized and created. Now we will close this. And one more thing about the Get.lazyPut, you can also use the tag in here for the Get.lazyPut like this. Let me show you. Right in here, tag, and you can also give the name coding cafe 1. After this, there will be a Phoenix. There we go, and set this to true. As you guys can see here, we also use that tag in here, as you guys can see at the top, right in the instance of a controller. We use the tag name coding cafe 1 and we set the permanent to true, and in here we set the Phoenix, set it to true. Basically the working of Phoenix and permanent is similar, and in Get.lazyPut we can use this also. So now we will use the tag to find our controller. So right in here tag, and in here there will be coding cafe 1. So now we will run the application and see if it's work or not. As you guys can see, get material controller has been created and also it's initialized. So now if I press in here, it will also create the controller. There we go, it's working fine. And you guys can see the tag coding cafe 1, so it's working fine also with the tag, and also we set the Phoenix to true. So now we will go back. So now we will simply comment this, and also the Get.lazyPut right in here, because we are done with it. Now we will work with the Get.create. So now in here we will create a Get.create. There we go, and in here the controller. Semicolon, and now in the Get.create, the permanent attribute, set it to true by default in the Get.create, and in here there will be a multiple instances created in the Get.create. So now after it, right in here we will write Get.find, and in here the controller, close it, semicolon. So now run the application. So it's working fine with the Get.create. So now we will close this. So now we will work with the Get.putAsync. So for that, let's first comment that, and also comment that Get.create. So now right in here we will write Get.putAsync. So now in here controller, and then here subcontroller, it will basically async. So right in here async, and in here await. There we go. So now we will go to the controller class, right in here control.dot, and now we will work in here. In here we will create a method name as increment, and this will be async. So now in here we will use the shared preferences. So for that we are going to import the library right in the pub spec, just in here, after the Cupertino icons, and after this get in here, write this, and then click on this pub get. It will import it. So it's done here. Now we will go back to the controller get the dependencies. There we go. Now in here we will create the shared preferences instance. So for that, write shared preferences. There we go. We will give the type name as shared np for preferences, and it will be await. So write in here shared preferences. There we go. Dot get instance semicolon. After this there will be integer counter, name is counter. Now in here we will set it to sp dot get int, and in here there will be counter. So default value will be 0, and in here we simply reading the value of counter basically from the shared preferences. So after this we will, in here we will add 1 after it, and then we will simply print it. In here we will say something like it's count, and then we will pass the counter in here, the integer we created above, times, remove that from here, it's making an error, so it's fine like that. Close it with semicolon. So after this we will set the value of counter to the shared preferences. So write in here await sp dot set int, and in here the key will be counter, and the value will be also counter. There we go. So now we will simply call the increment method, copy this increment, and go to the main.dart, and write in here we will write get dot find. There will be controller, the capital C. There we go. And after it, in here display the increment, close it with semicolon. So now we will run the application and see the result. Let's get the process, and now we will run it. So now click in here. As you guys can see here, it's count 5 times because we already use that button and we click upon it several times, so it shows us that it's count 5 times. Now if I press back, it will be 6, 7, 8, as you guys can see. And if you remember, the counter value is stored in the shared preferences, so that's why started like that. So it's working fine. That's it for this video, and we will work further in the next video.